As over the top as it may be, bluelock has some insanely talented players, and their top strikers are actually world-class. This begs the question, can the best players in bluelock actually win against real-life football clubs? And stay until the end, because bluelock might have to play against the best players in the entire world. Well, before we start, we'll have to set up a few rules. First, we'll only choose 15 bluelock players, 4 substitutes, and 11 starting players. Second, we have to fight against the current roster of the football clubs we've chosen. Third, the match will be a race to 3 goals. Whoever scores 3 goals first, that team will be the winner. Finally, we can only choose U20 players in the bluelock universe who are official players in the Neo-Egoist League, meaning that we can't have guys like Loki, Noah, or the other OP players in the anime. So who's gonna be on our team? Of course, our coach is gonna be Ego Jinpachi himself. I mean, who better to lead these self-serving and psychotic kids than the one that made them crazy? Not to mention, he's really smart, and if you didn't know, he actually played with Noah before he started bluelock. I think Ego would go with the classic 4-5-1 formation, the same one that led them to victory against Japan's U20 national team. With the coach out of the way, who's going to be our center forward? Well, this is a tough choice. There are so many good candidates like Kaiser, Rin, and even Shido. But, of course, I think the best one has to be Rin. Rin is just a different beast, and now with his ego unlocked, he's able to go toe-to-toe against both Kaiser and Isagi. Not to mention, even Aiku, one of the best defenders in bluelock, admitted that he had a 0% chance of stopping an awakened Rin if he was alone. His shooting ability is probably the best in bluelock too, seeing as he and Isagi literally carried the U20 match, and he has the highest goals scored in the Neo-Egoist League. He was up against some monsters. In this monster eats monster world, Rin is the king. Moving on, we have the right winger. Now, this may come as a surprise, but I am going to choose Michael Kaiser. And before you go bonkers in the comments, let me explain. In Rule 4, I mentioned that we can only choose players that are under 20 years old, and they must have participated in the Neo-Egoist League as a player. This fits Kaiser, and the reason why we can't choose Loki is the fact that he's not an official player, but he is a coach/master. And do I need to explain why I chose Kaiser? He was already a beast when he was the king of bastard Munchin, but after he met Isagi, he became even crazier and unlocked more and more of his ego. This made him even more impactful and cunning, to the point where he could actually work with Isagi and achieve greater heights. When it comes to the left winger, there are a bunch of other strikers out there who could totally crush the position. Shido, Isagi, heck, even Baro could potentially be able to worm his way in. But in terms of team synergy and just overall latent potential, Nagi has to be the one here. I know, Nagi has been slacking off a bit, and they got absolutely demolished after he lost steam. Yet I think it's just about time that he gets some much-needed character development and finally makes a comeback. I mean, he is one of the greatest strikers bluelock has, not just because of his trapping, but also because he has some of the most creative shots. Nagi has some insane clutch factor, and he can easily work with any other player. And of course, Yoichi Isagi will be the first offensive midfielder, because no one can be as offensive as Slur Sagi himself. He started from the bottom, but because of his insane adaptability and IQ, he's able to go up against the best of the best, including being considered as the rival of both Kaiser and Rin. In a single match, he can absorb so much information from his opponents and allies that he can basically manipulate everyone into making him score. We saw this over and over again. First, he was able to predict both Saya and Rin's actions, and at the exact moment, with a bit of luck, scored the winning goal against Japan's U20 team. Next, he was able to completely turn the tides and make Bastard Munchin revolve around him. He is the catalyst that makes others evolve, or else they're gonna be devoured by his insane ego. Plus, he can now shoot with either leg and has even better playmaking skills. Speaking of playmaking, there was one other kid who was so good that he even became the favorite of none other than Loki himself, and it's none other than Charles Chevalier for our other offensive midfielder. He has his one ego, and he doesn't care if the player he passes to can reach his pass or not. Charles will go for the most high-level pass, and it's up to his striker to catch up to him. Because of this playmaking technique, he is considered as PXG's heart, and is the reason why they can score so many goals. Charles is so valued that Loki considers him one of the key assets he needs to become the best player in the entire world. With egoists like Kaiser, Isagi, Nagi, and Rin trying to score their own goals, it's like Charles is having a feast. But as we move on to the defensive midfielder role, Leo Mikage, aka the Chameleon, takes the spotlight. He's the most versatile player in bluelock, as he's able to copy any technique, from Nagi's traps, Aiku's defense, and even passes from Saya Itoshi. What makes him even more interesting is that he can copy the effectiveness of set techniques up to 99%. It may not be 100, but that's still very impressive. He's going to be the core of bluelock, organizing the defense and igniting counterattacks against the enemy team. And he also has metavision just like other high-ranking players, meaning that he can see the entire field and is able to respond wherever he's needed. I would have loved Saya to be in this position, but the rules say we can only choose Neo neo-egoist league players, so Leo would have to do. Now onto our left wing back position, and it's going to be Meguru Bachira. I know some of you have your doubts about him, especially since FC Barça, his team, had the most losses in the neo-egoist league. But that's because, other than Bachira, the rest were literally fodder. He carried so hard, and his new dribbling technique is deadly. This means he can easily steal the ball from the enemy forward and dribble his way into their side of the field before passing it to Isagi or Charles, or better yet, just score himself. It was between him and Karasu, but I think Bachira has more potential in this hyper-offensive team. On the other side, we have the right wing back being filled by Hyoma Chigiri. Before, Chigiri was only able to run really fast, but had a hard time scoring. But now, after developing his body even further and unlocking his 44-degree Red Panther sniper, he's one of the best counter-attackers in bluelock. Once you get him the ball, he can just sprint at insane speeds towards the enemy's side of the field. It's said that he can run 50 meters in just 5.77 seconds. He's a powerful tool when it comes to breaking an enemy's formation, and then distracting them from the key strikers so that they can get in position. With Chigiri out of the way, let's go to our main defensive players. Our first center back is going to be Oliver Aiku. This choice is a no-brainer because he is the best U20 defensive player in all of Japan. He also has Metavision, which was powerful enough to outread both Isagi and Kaiser at multiple points during the Ubers vs Bastard Munchen match. He has the most shutdowns out of any defensive players in bluelock as he beat Rin, Isagi, Nagi, Kaiser, and Bachira. But if you remember, he was also a striker back when he was young, meaning that if the team had to go all in, he could still keep up. Our next center back is going to be Don Lorenzo, another obvious choice. Don Lorenzo has even more defensive power than IQ to the point where he can easily outplay Kaiser in a 1v1. That's why he got the nickname the Ace Eater, because of his insane ability to shut down the best strikers in the game. He even blocked the Kaiser impact, which is such a flex considering that even Noah said that he could not match that shot's kick swing speed. Even with just two defenders, IQ and Don Lorenzo are enough to guard against most strikers in the entire world. Last but not least, we have the goalkeeper. Who's it going to be? It's gonna be none other than Gin Gagamaru himself, the GOAT! Even with all those world-class goalkeepers in the neo-egoist league, this striker-turned-goalkeeper has the most amazing feats in the series. His reflexes allow him to perform acrobatic dives and saves. One time, he was able to stop a goal using a handstand. Not to mention, he blocked a copied version of Rin's outside spin shot without breaking a sweat. He is just the best goalkeeper by far, and that's why so many people like him. With the main 11 out of the way, let's go choose our 4 substitutes. They're substitutes not because they're weak, but because the entire play style of the team shifts once they enter the field. First is Bato. He's just the best pure striker in the series, and he became even better during the neo-egoist league. Moving on, we have Shido. The reason why we made him a substitute is because his play style is completely different from how Rin plays, so interchanging them can bring on a new version of the Blue Lock 11. Then the last two are Hiyori and Karasu. I chose Hiyori because after he unlocked his ego, his play style became even more similar to Charles and Karasu's, because even though he somehow became a defensive player, his IQ and leadership can build a solid foundation for the team. And now that we're done with our team with Rin as CF, Kaiser as right wing, Nagi as left wing, Charles and Isagi as offensive midfielders, Leo as defensive MF, Bachira as left back, Chigiri as right back, Lorenzo and Aiku as CBs, Goat Maru as the GK, and the last 4 as the subs, we're finally going to play against 5 of the best clubs in the entire world. They're going to be Juventus, PSG, Arsenal, Barcelona, and Real Madrid. But before we continue, make sure to help a bro out and like and subscribe. Starting off with Juventus. Juventus is regarded as the best team in all of Italy and is the direct inspiration for Ubers in the neo-egoist league. Their star player is Timothy Weah for the 2024-2025 season. Just like Ubers, they focus more on defense and ball control, switching between the 4-4-2 and 4-5-1 formations. They even have some of the most aggressive man-to-man markings. This strategy is the complete opposite of Blue Lock's ultra-aggressive approach. It's going to be a match of philosophies. At first, I think Juventus would be surprised at just how overwhelming Blue Lock could be, especially with their unique skills and techniques. And I think in the first few minutes, Nagi will be able to score a goal through one of Charles's passes. But once Juventus snaps out from the initial surprise, it could be anyone's game. Blue Lock would slowly have a hard time reaching the experienced professional team's defenses, and Juventus will be able to exploit any holes in Blue Lock's strategy. Midfield control and defense would most likely be dominated by Juventus, but once Blue Lock finds an opportunity, Juventus might find it hard to contain their crazy strikers. When Charles and Isagi link up, it's somehow a sure goal for Blue Lock. Not to mention, Kaiser being in the team adds a lot more danger. It's a back-and-forth battle, yet since Juventus doesn't have any overwhelming forwards, I think Don Lorenzo and Aiku can buy enough time for the others to help in defending against Juventus. In my opinion, Blue Lock has a 65% chance of winning this game, especially if they can utilize their insane offensive and counterattack capabilities. In this match, Kaiser would ultimately score the final goal with his Kaiser impact, a shot so fast that almost no one could react to it. Now that we know what's going to happen against Juventus, how would Blue Lock fare against one of the best teams not only in France, but in the entire world? PSG! Yup, it's where PSG came from in the Neo-Egoist League, but lucky for them, the real-life inspiration of Loki just transferred out from this club. Their current top scorer is Ousmane Dembele with an outstanding 21 goals and 5 assists, plus a performance index of 100. Next to him is Bradley Barcola with 15 goals and 8 assists. PSG's current playstyle focuses on efficient counterplays and midfield support with a 1-4-3-3 formation. They even have inverted fullbacks, which allows them to control the game's tempo even further. They're a lot more offensive compared to Juventus, but they still have insane adaptability because of how they use midfield and central areas. This is going to be a difficult match for bluelock, especially since game control is not their best asset. Bluelock does well under pressure, and you could even go as far as to say that they're at their best under it. But with PSG's impressive forward and fullbacks, this is going to be a tough one. Of course, bluelock would still score first due to their unpredictability, but PSG's adaptability would quickly shut down any further attempts. Isagi and Charles might be able to push through, but if the goalkeeper stops a shot and PSG goes on the counter, it's almost over for bluelock. Bluelock might get in another goal with either Rin or Nagy pulling off a once-in-a-lifetime world-class shot, but overall, I think PSG wins and bluelock only has a 40% chance of winning. This is mainly due to how methodical and structured PSG plays their games, not giving bluelock the chance to unleash their raw offensive power. After an unexpected loss against PSG, bluelock makes their way to the Premier League, where they face the current top-ranking club, Arsenal. You were expecting Manchester City to be here, but they just didn't do so well this season. Kai Havertz is the current top scorer in Arsenal with 9 goals. They have an impressive record, losing only 3 games out of the entire 2024-2025 season. They even recently beat Man City 5-1 this February. Arsenal's strategy emphasizes numerical advantage, space exploitation, and a high backline for counter-pressing. After the defeat against PSG, bluelock might have formulated a strategy against the inverted fullback strategy. As the match starts, I think Arsenal is going to score the first goal with Odegaard managing to score a sharp goal from a cross. And I think they'll also be able to enter bluelock's side of the field again. But this is where it gets tricky because Arsenal has a high line, and once Chigidi gets the ball, he's going to outrun them and smoothly pierce through Arsenal's defenses with the help of the other forwards. While Arsenal always manages to maintain possession and calculate their way into bluelock's defenses, each counterattack is going to be their kryptonite, especially with Isagi around. And if Barrow gets to be subbed, they can individually blast through Arsenal's defenses with their unorthodox playstyles. Bluelock has a 70% chance of winning here. With bluelock scoring another victory, let's travel towards Spain where we meet one half of the El Clasico, Barcelona. This club's roster is loaded with talent, from Lewandowski, who scored 31 goals this season, Rafinha, who scored 24, and their goalkeeper Peña, who had 5 clean sheets and 42 saves. Not to mention, both Lewandowski and Rafinha were the first 2 players to pass 20 goals across all the 5 major European leagues this season. The way Barcelona plays is that they use a 1-3-2-5 formation that adds a lot of focus to quick, short passes that require a lot of technical skills and positional fluidity. They use this strategy to add numerical superiority to the midfield and create a passing network that's hard to intercept. It's a very difficult and high skill level tactic that can only be executed by the best of the best. So can bluelock overcome this new enemy? As the game starts, bluelock tries to respond with fluid formations of their own, which is possible since most of them are strikers. Isagi takes a central role in all of this, trying to manipulate his teammates and the enemy into giving him chances to exploit spaces. But Barcelona's style gives them a textbook goal when Pedri, a midfielder with 4 goals and 6 assists, manages to make a sharp pass through bluelock's defense, with Torres scoring the goal. Barcelona then makes another goal when Lewandowski and Rafinha come at each flank and overwhelm the bluelock's low defense ability. IQ wasn't enough to stop Lewandowski, and Lorenzo was marking Rafinha, making the score 0-2. But bluelock fights back when Isagi manages to steal a pass from Kaiser with his direct shot. Well, I think that's where the fun ends, as even bluelock would have a 30% chance of winning against Barcelona. Finally, we reach the final club, the biggest and baddest of them all. The club not only consistently becomes Barcelona's rival, but is regarded as one of the, if not the best in the world. And it's none other than Real Madrid. This is where Loki's real-life inspiration is currently playing. Mbappe's current season has been nothing short of impressive with 23 goals. Real Madrid is also the club with the most FIFA Club World Cup titles and was the home of Cristiano Ronaldo for some time. Plus, true to his bluelock character, Mbappe is known as one of the fastest players in the world. What makes this match even more interesting is the fact that Real Madrid uses a 4-3-3 formation with a high emphasis on wing play. Their midfielders and attackers also often swap roles, and their counterattacks often revolve around the fast pace of their forwards. During the match, the 3 forwards of each team come face to face, but before bluelock can even react, Mbappe uses his speed to dash through bluelock's defensive line and draw IQ and Lorenzo to his position. This is when he passes to Benzema, who finishes clinically into the net. This of course surprises bluelock, seeing how Real Madrid's star player passed. The match goes on, and Rin manages to score with Isagi's help, while Vinicius Jr., another one of Real Madrid's forwards, scores after receiving a pass from the flank. Nagy and Kaiser initiated a counterattack and were almost caught by Real Madrid. Yet bluelock still loses the match as Real Madrid's coordination and their surprise attack with their fullbacks catches bluelock by surprise. Gagamaru manages to block the first shot, but victory is secured by Mbappe. But what do you think? Could bluelock be able to win against these professional clubs? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more videos like this one. And if you like this one, check out this video where I created the strongest character in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.